shows you. Let's
We're good to go.
And also sound in the room downstairs.
I will check.
Yeah.
Someone might be practicing downstairs, but I think they're joining.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
at the Welcome Center.
Yeah, Welcome Center.
We'll know in a second.
Yeah. And that was Joseph who was practicing for his concert tomorrow morning.
Okay. If you could play something. Sounds great.
And voice too.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we begin.
Yeah.
We are going to have a little bit of fun. So we have here Noah, Abigail, and Adam. My name is Koen. For the people in the room somewhere, we are in space. I'm Mr. Spock. I hope you can all hear us. What I would like to do to start with is not directly the music, but everything what we need to do to warm up, and also very important things is technique. As Horowitz said, no music without technique. What we are going to do is something that I mostly do for the start of all lessons, is a broken chord in C, and then you play C, G, E, C. And you could say that's easy enough to do, but what we have to do is a preparation of all the keys. So I've played this C with my left hand, and then immediately I go to my next note before I even played my right hand. So you play the note and immediately you go to the next one. And to prepare the key as much as possible, and then I always like to move with a little bit of relaxation to go to the next hand, because we need to be relaxed. It doesn't mean that you have to do a lot of gestures, but just after you've played the note, you relax your hand and prepare, go to the next note. And I suppose that we do that together. I start over here, you start over there, and Adam, can you start over here, and then you will just end up 2 octaves higher. I will say 1, 2, 3, and then we are off. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now we go down. So we have C, E, G, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Nice preparation. When we have prepared all the notes, then it's very easy to do dynamics. In fact, then we have all the control of the dynamics. Because if you have a very soft passage and you want a melody to come out, there are two ways. Either you give a lot of force to the melody line, but then, yeah, certainly on this type of carillon with tailor bells, certainly in the treble bells, we don't want to play them too loud, because then they tend to have a very harsh tone. Doesn't mean that you're never allowed to play a forte, but then it's going to be like sforzandos, but all the other notes not too forte. So if you have prepared as much as possible all the notes, or for instance, if I play a complement in my left hand as soft as possible, then you don't have to do much with your right hand. The melody automatically will spring out. And since we are with 3, then Noah can join. And now we do the same exercise, not in D major. And Noah, Adam, you will have to just invent that there is a high D. Yeah, sing the high D when you're there. Okay, so before you play, the keys are down, and then so we have D, A, F sharp, and so on. 1, 2, 3. Bum, 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 bim, bum, bum, bim. Okay, yeah, well done. nice song. So we have D, A, F sharp, D, A, F sharp. One more time. 1, 2, 3. D, A, F sharp, D, okay, yeah. Again, very nice treble bell that you have. Another exercise, first off, we will do the same thing, but then in D major again, but with fingers. So you use 2 fingers for 1 key. And Noah will play heavy bells, but still there is no problem to play with fingers on a heavy carillon, at least as if you have prepared the keys. If you would try to do this from the top of the key and then with fingers, then probably it will be more difficult. So try to prepare as much as possible. And yeah, then there's all explanation about force that you have to, less force that you have to use if the key is prepared. Okay, we're trying to do that. And so C major, 1, 2, 3. Push down the keys. Okay, yeah, so that is playing with fingers. Why would we play with fingers while you have fists? Well, I would just turn that question around. Why not using the fingers? Because you have them. When you play with fingers and when you are able to, for instance in a slow passage, when you switch from hands to fingers and then a hand again, then in between those keys your hands will be completely relaxed, because we are playing a hand and then we have to go to a finger and then look to my hand, it's just completely relaxed, and then we have tension again to play it. The more you are relaxed, the nicer your music will be. So even if it's not necessary to play one note with fingers, I still say, I think I still play half of the notes just with fingers. There is another reason why, another method why we use fingers, that is to play really like a piano. And then you can play fast and still soft. If I would do this passage with hands, okay, and in the same speed, of course it sounds louder. How do we do this? Same thing, all the keys have to be prepared, and then you use just a very small space of the key fall. Again, so we're first doing slowly, pum 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 pum. So left hand has 1 note, and then the 3 other notes I will play with fingers. Then I always use 1, 2, and finger number 4. Finger number 3 is not doing anything, it's just hanging in between. Why not finger number 3? If I would do 1, 2, 3, then there will be tension in my fingers between 2 and 3. So like this, and then also it's better to, this position will be better. Now I'm in a strange position because I'm not sitting in a bench. But then we always try that our hand follows perpendicularly, or something like that in English, the position of the keyboard, you know what I mean? So that your hand is not twisted like that, but as much as possible in the direct line where the keys are, you know what I mean. And I will do the heaviest bells, and then what we will do is push them down. 1, 2, 3. And now a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why I counted now till 3 instead of 4 or whatever, but we started together and ended together, so that's good. There is a lot of music where you can just use this type of playing. So not only when it's in C major or A minor, but you have just other keys where you have a passage with only white keys. Or for instance, if it's in D major. So I have these 2 keys, E and D, that you can play with fingers instead of doing that. So this will always be softer and more controlled, but of course you need to do also some exercises for that. I will not say that this is handy if you have an accidental, although there are carillonists who do that. I always suggest that you look to videos, for instance, Boudewijn's playing, or Geert's playing, or Stefano Coletti's playing. A lot of things on YouTube that I think, what the hell? So it is doable. I do it a little bit less, but it is doable. Last exercise, what we will do before beginning, is the gruppetto. Also very interesting, and perhaps we will see that with some music that we will play during this session. That is, if you have, for instance, this, or this kind of thing. Da di 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 dum. If you would use only hands, what do we have? Either this, or worse, that you have 2 times the same hand. There are several passages where perhaps there is no other way to do it, but for several other passages we can use this playing. Right hand is a fist, left hand fingers, and then you go with your right hand over your left hand and you push down vertically that lower note. And then you can also control it very well. I could even do this thing in diminuendo. So I start with an accent, and then you have a diminuendo. That's impossible to do when you only play with fists. And again, you can do this on any carillon. This is not a light carillon. I do the same thing in Chicago, for instance, which is a heavy carillon. You can do it on every carillon, but you have to make sure that you are able to prepare it. Okay. We start with C, and then we will do pam 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 pam. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pam 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 pam. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and make sure that you push down the key like very vertically, not like this, but that your hand is going like that. 3, 4. And then we move 1 key, and then we do the following 3, 4, and then go up. Yeah, we only use the white keys. And it's very normal that you did the C sharp, but we will do only the white keys. And then with the E, 3, 4. Next one. Okay. Now again from the beginning, give an accent on the first note, and then we go in diminuendo. I will try to make it for myself. I will try to do the same thing, but on heavier bells and a little bit faster. So we will do pam 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 and pam 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 pam. Okay, 3 and 4 and. All very important exercises. I don't know whether one of you have played the piano. I didn't. My other instrument is the flute. I never did it professionally, but I had to do a lot of intonational exercises for a nice tone. Pianists do scales and other technical exercises. What do we do with the carillon? Mostly non-technical exercises, and I think it's really something that we miss. And there are several students where I really see that it helps, and some students developing their own exercises. Okay, last exercise which we do is for 2 reasons. You will have a lot of music where you just play 16th notes. They have to be even. Don't play the 16th notes as fast as I tried to do a few days ago, because then the sound may got blur, which probably happened. But okay, you have to play them evenly. You have to be able to play them evenly. That's also an exercise. You just can't expect that you play a piece with a lot of 16th notes without knowing what to do. So we are going to do an exercise which is this: 2 notes, third together, right, left, right, together. That's what we do. Together, right, left, right, together. And then we go to the next one. Okay? I will count to 4, and that will also be the rhythm of our 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Together, right, left, right, together. Now a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Faster. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and what is now very important with this exercise, once you have played the first 2 notes and we go to the next, immediately we will prepare the notes. So even with this heavier keys that I'm playing now, I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a certain amount of key fall. Why do we have the key fall, which is I think here 4 centimeters or so? Why do we have that? Why isn't the key fall very small? Strangely enough, we do have the bigger key fall to be able to play softer. And there is, you could have some discussion about it. If the key fall is just like this, you could say, okay, all your music will be softer, but you will have no dynamics at all. I always compare it with driving a car and the gas pedal. If the gas pedal would just be like this, immediately your face will be against the window because there is no soft control. You will have no control of your speed. It will be all or nothing. So we need this space. And mostly, I would always say, try to have that space as short as possible, as small as possible. If you're studying a new piece, try to play everything pianissimo. If you are not able to play everything pianissimo, then probably you have to look further to look for another handling, because it's like 90% of the work is trying to find a good handling. That's just the beginning of everything. Okay, now we will do the same exercise.
Before you do that, can you shut the door behind you?
Of course. Yeah, we do have some light issues. Well, we are in space after all. It's not that strange.
You always want to shut the door in space.
Oh yeah, probably. Thank you for that idea. Okay, the same exercise but double as long. I will just show it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. See what I do? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, a little bit faster, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, faster, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you for your improvisation, because you missed some keys over there. So this is an exercise not only, of course, to play 16th notes evenly, but what is this also? It's an exercise to play tremolos. For me personally, what a tremolo is not is this, but you do it slower, and we have 3 kinds of tremolos. It will get us a little bit too far, but for instance, the first kind of tremolo is a rhythmical tremolo in 2, and then you will hear it with the accents that I give. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's a tremolo in 4. Tremolo in 3 is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And then the free tremolo has no accents, goes perhaps a little bit faster. And that the division between 3 and 4 is the same thing what is done in orchestras with the string players. And they talk, I've heard a story for one of my students who was the first double bass player in Antwerp Symphonic Orchestra. They talk with him themselves to see how they are going to do the vibratos. And then they make some agreement for this piece. We're going to do the vibrato in 3, or for another piece in 4. And then we just can do the same thing. But that perhaps takes us too much. And now music maestra or music maestros, since Abigail has her music here ready, then we'll start with that. And somebody will have to shout when I have to stop, because otherwise we will be here in space for a few hours. And Abigail is going to play a prelude number 9, not from Matthias van der Rijn, but from Neil Thornock. But Neil Thornock wrote these compositions as inspired by the preludes of Matthias van der Rijn.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry that I don't let you play the
Yeah.
whole piece. Very well done. I saw you preparing several times the keys, but perhaps not the whole time.
Yeah.
The thing that I noticed is that there is a difference between your right hand and your left hand. Your left hand had the thumb quite a fixed. We have to try not to use muscles that you don't need to use to play. So make sure that your thumb is not fixed like this, but your hand, when you play with fists, have a closed hand, not fixed, which you didn't do. And then your thumb is just very loosely on top of your hand. We're just going to do the first system again, and without pedals and a little bit slower.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Before you play, what can we do to have a full control of the first two notes?
Prepare.
Yeah, there you go. Because now they came from the top. That doesn't mean that you want to have them soft, but at least you will have full control of what you want to do. If you want to say on the first note, which is the D, if you want that to be a little bit louder, explicitly not give the word accent, but if you want that D to come out, yeah, then we have to make sure that that F is perhaps a little bit softer. It's a little bit tricky to do that with this octave. So you hear that the second note is softer. So we try to do that as soon as you have played the first two notes. Bum, 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 bum. And then also over here, the second beat. Bum, 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 bum. My left hand has played the D. My right hand will play the F, and then immediately my left hand will go to the next note and will prepare that as much as possible. If you don't prepare that, then we will have this. And I want the opposite. I want the upper note more than the lower note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bum, bum, bum. Yes. Yeah, that's it. Okay, one more time from the beginning. 2, 3, 4. So you immediately changed already your position of your thumb. That's perfect. And yeah, also all the preparations. So that's an important thing of the playing technique. I clapped, I think, just next to my microphone. I perhaps should not do that. Other things what we can do and have to do on a carillon is articulation.
Yeah.
So now we have talked about how the preparation can influence which notes will come out. Could say, okay, then the other notes will be a little bit accentuated. We have a very big resonance. We could say that is a disadvantage, but you could also use and see that as an advantage. So what will we do? You could make your interpretation in several layers. And in fact, the use of layers is not that I came up with, but it's something that I heard Geert doing like a few decades ago. And I think that word or that comparison is very well to use it. The first layer is how you want to group the notes. So this is the passage that we have, first measure. What can you do with it? We could say we are going to divide it in two groups. And you also always have dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dum. Or something which we are not going to do in this example is pam 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 pim pam pam pam. I don't think that's a good idea for this music. Or we could say the first layer is every time first measure. Dee da 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 dee 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 da 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 dee 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 dim. And I think when you play it in tempo, I think the last imitation is perhaps the best thing to do. Then you have dim bum 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 dee da 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 dee 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 dum ba da da dee 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 da dee da dee da dee dum dum dim. Okay, now I also sang a second layer. Do you know what I did?
You were singing the lower ones a little quieter.
Yep. The lower one's quieter, so which is necessary because otherwise you would not have that first layer. But so I had phrases for each measure, dim bum 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 dee da 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 dum, and each beginning is like not that much of a dynamical accent, but just a little tenuto. We can't do that not too much. Otherwise, your middle name will be like mine, which is some students say contenuto is here. So sometimes I do it perhaps too much, but it's good to have it in mind that that's a possibility. Tam ba 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 dee 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 da 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 dee da 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 dee da dee da dee da dee da dee da dum, and then that's the end of my first phrase. So dee da 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 dee 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 da 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 dee 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 da 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 dee 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 da da dum dum. And then we have a breathing. I also just breathe because otherwise I would turn blue. So after that first phrase, there will be a comma, and then we do the same thing again. I don't think you have to do it softer. It's just the beginning of the piece. If somebody tells you a story and you have not understood it, and you just say, "Oh, what did you say?" then the other person will say the same thing in the same dynamic, same way. If you would ask it a third time, then perhaps that person will shout a little bit louder, and we can do the same thing in music. So again, only manual, a focus on that first layer, meaning phrases for every measure, and then over here you have a comma, and then we start the second layer again. Okay, and very well positioned for the beginning, very well done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. That's one. Yeah. Okay. And then you will have to find out what to do for the rest of the piece with those layers.
Yeah.
And then the third and the highest, or the upper level, is then the story of the piece. It depends what then you want to do it. For instance, with this piece, you could have like a whole page like a crescendo feeling or some stringendo, whatever, to make sure that there is also a story for the whole piece. Okay. I would like to continue for the rest, but we will see if there afterwards some time enough to switch again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could you hand me that music?
And now we have Adam, and I thought that you are wanting to play quarter.
Yeah.
Switch out the mic.
Yeah.
Could you
Oh,
hand
you
me
had a
that?
mic too. I
I
didn't
have
know
a
that.
mic.
Thank you so much. We lower the bench. We're down. Is that going down? Looks like
It's
it.
going down, but very slowly. This is a very, very advanced bench. I can also see with a scale which I have over here.
Very loved score.
Oh yes. Yeah. Mixolydian mode.
Shall we go for it?
Oh yes. Let's do it till here. Is that okay?
Okay, yes. Ooh.
So we're just going to do the same thing as we have discussed also with Abigail. So you have played nice dynamics in phrasing, but they were all, let's say, from that second level, and I missed a little bit the first level. So what do we have? Da 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 dee da 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 dee 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 dum. Sorry for my bad singing. I used to sing, but that's a long time ago. Da 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 dee da 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 dee 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 dum. So we want to have a line which probably is going towards the first measure, is going towards that high D. And then in diminuendo. Then there are two ways to do that. Either you would do this to give an accent on that D. More and more, and try to avoid accents, but working more with the idea to grow somewhere. Although I still recently used a lot of accents until several very good people said, okay, I like the Carillon very much, but not with those cannonballs in the middle. What will we try to do? We start with a pedal. The first notes are these. Da, 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 dee, da, 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 dum. And we grow towards that D. Do we want to divide these into a group of two? I don't know. Now I did with an accent, but that perhaps too much. I think it's nicer to have one line going to that high D. Okay. What if I first thing, and clapping again, no clapping. Can we do something different with handling? What if I say those two measures, play them pianissimo, as soft as possible? That's a possibility. That's a possibility. So now you played all the notes with fingers. Perhaps that's not necessary, but it gave me already a different feeling. But what about if you would change the position of the hands? So now you start with left. I don't know, is it a possibility if you would start with your right hand and then see where you end up? I would say no.
No, probably
because
not.
it's too much. But now you're going to try to look further and use something which your mother gave you. Your mother gave you fingers.
Yes.
What can we do? Just try it out.
Do something like that, and kind of it's easier to cross over that.
Yeah. I think the answer might be in some technical exercise we did before.
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay, but you will get into trouble because you have to go higher. It's still something with fingers, but try to use your fingers later, not yet over here.
All that, yeah.
That will be the solution. Is it the easiest solution? No. Is it the solution where you will have full control? I think yes. But you will have to practice it.
Oh, and then you jump.
And then you have to jump, of course. It's about this. Dee-da-dum. And then I can play it very soft. And then you know, okay, this handling will work. And then, for instance, you could say the score mentions mezzo forte. You could say I'm going to start mezzo piano, so that I can make that line towards the first beat of the second measure without having already a forte. And then go in diminuendo again. I don't know whether you would want to do. That will be too tricky. So this method, you can do that as long as you still have a little bit of time to prepare the notes. So we've played this bum bum with hands, and then my thumb immediately, or my hand immediately do this. And then the way to practice this kind of method is, and in fact that's not my method, but that came from one of my former students, Claire, who is now thinking about all the technical exercises. And then I stop playing, but you do the position of your hands. And then if you are sure that you have this, then you can continue. Okay, again slower, and then that's without the pedals. I will do pedals. May I use a low G?
Oh, please.
No. Bum 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 bim bum bum bum. 3, 4.
Didn't quite get it.
Yeah, you will get there. 3. Oh, it was a little bit slower. 2, 3, 4. Yes. Yeah. Okay, and now we continue. 3, 4. Okay. Yeah. And then just manual to continue. What do we have?
We could do it again.
Yeah. We'll try it out. I don't think it's necessary, but try it out. Yeah, and now do with the handling that you have over here, and just with fists. Okay. I don't think that fingers will help over here. But what you could do is this. So this is a typical example where we want to avoid to use the same hands within the beat. If you play consecutive notes with the same hand, then it's no problem if the second note is more important than the note before or the note after.
Yeah.
Don't know whether
It'll
that's...
have a natural accent.
Yes, that's a good word for it. I have to remember that. Natural accent. So for instance, over here, and my right hand has to go from the D to the F, and then you will have a natural accent. But yeah, I think what you did before.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
fourth.
Yep, and that's not a good idea, because I want dee da da dee dee dum bum pa dee 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 dum. I want not the D accentuated. If you jump from the G to the D, then the D will be accentuated. So we have to try to avoid it. And then, yeah, we can use something for the exercise which you did before, but then it was for notes together. Remember? We did it. We are going to do the same thing, but with more jumps. Yes, and then you have to jump. There's another way. Okay, yeah. Perhaps another possibility is for that high D, if we will start with left hand, I don't know. Yeah. And then your left hand goes underneath your right hand. But because your right hand is repeating that G. Wait. So that's also a possibility. I'm just saying that every time when you work on a new piece, this is the work that you have to do. Don't be happy too early if you say, wow, I can play the notes. And I don't, sorry that I did it in this way, because you play very nice. But I'm saying just always try to look further for a better solution. And if you have a solution where you can play everything pianissimo, then it's probably working for your interpretation afterwards. So what we did up to now, we will play everything pianissimo. Piano, it's not yet pianissimo. But yeah, you get the picture. So
Mhm.
very important thing, handling.
Yes. It's funny that you mentioned. I now see there's another one of our exercises. It's
Well, okay, there you
Look
go.
at that.
Look at that. What you pointed out now is this. So what are we going to do with that? When you played it, you had a very nice crescendo,
Mhm.
but you had a crescendo over all the notes. So like this.
Yeah, it needs to rock a little bit. Duh, duh,
Yes. That's also a word that I'm going to remember. Natural accents and rock. I always say group the notes, and in this case, you group the notes in two. Ba-di, da-da, da-di, da-di, di, di, dum. And then here it's in 4. What do? We give the crescendo on the beats, on the beginning of each group of 2 notes, but the second note of the same group always stays soft.
Yeah, that's very effective.
And then the sound is transparent.
Mhm.
I always like to hear personally the Carillon that breathes. If there is a forte passage and every note is forte or played forte, yeah, then sometimes it's just too much.
Mhm. It's not very natural sounding. It's kind of
yeah.
robotic.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Again, if you then play that fast like I did, then perhaps still it's all mushed. It's just the example that we're going to play here. So, okay, just this measure, da-di, da-di, da-dum, and then with the crescendo on the beats. Okay, yep, one more time. Okay, very well. And then the last measure that we played, we want to have a very nice diminuendo.
No, that probably won't work there.
Not problem. Not. What are the other solutions?
Oh, let's see.
Yes. No, that's not how you played it. I think before you
No,
played
yeah.
everything with the right hand. Don't do that because then there is no diminuendo.
Mhm.
And I think that will be a nice solution. So instead of doing everything with the right hand, you had palm, right hand, left hand, and then one more time
Mhm.
in the same tempo. Bum, bim, bum, bum, bum.
Just gotta land there.
Yeah. One more time. Yeah, very well. And you could do also rehearse this or practice this. Bum, bim, bum. And then you stop, and you have to make sure that your left hand is already on that B. And then you can play it very soft. Also, when you play it faster, but that's the only way to play soft. Good handling, rehearse it, practice it, of course, a lot in that way, and then you have full control. And then your next measure will be the same thing. Okay, I hope that helped a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Thank you so
and
much.
then, till when do we have time, gentlemen?
3:40.
3:40.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have Noah, who will play. I don't know yet what. Yeah, you're welcome. It's just my pleasure to work with every one of you. Yeah. Say hi to everyone on Earth. My name is Noah, and you are from University of Florida. I should say it the same way as Jeremy said. You are from University of Florida. I can't do it in the same way. He's wonderful doing that.
It's like this one, just
Yeah, it's a heavy bench. It's a workout.
wow.
This goes somewhere. I think if we just leave it over here.
Yeah.
And Noah will play from the book of John Gowan's. Oh, and the door has to be closed then.
Oh yes.
For his method, scherzetto. Poco vivace, but we will do poco lento, so much slower. And if it's okay with you that at some point I say stop if I
Yes.
hear that a phrase is stopped. Enjoy playing. Okay, yeah, thank you. Sorry that I already let you stop. So John has written also the handling, and I think it's a very good idea, everything what he did, because in this way we avoid playing two notes with one hand where the second note is not accentuated. So if you do it differently in this way, then we have a natural accent. Thank you again, Adam. Before you play, so what if I say try to play everything as soft as possible? What do?
We do better at preparing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so the two first notes with your hands are prepared. In fact, we could do the same thing with pedals. For me, that's one of the reasons to play without shoes. But okay, that's a whole other story. There are several reasons why I think it's nice to play without shoes. Okay, prepare the feet, left foot E, right foot B. Very good, because what you also now did, if you watch the keys, they are prepared too. So we can also prepare pedal notes. I don't see any reason why we not want to do that. Okay. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Okay, again from the beginning. Okay, yeah. Over here, there's a very interesting thing which you tried to do. Either you tried to look for something, and at the end, your mind decided, I'm not going to do it. What is it? So you had here right hand, and then you have to play that B. I saw you doing this, your hand, almost trying to play with fingers, and at the end you decided, I'm not going to do that, and you use your fists. But what is happening if you use your fist, then I'm just now blocked. What I could do, what I can do or could do, is leave that F sharp and go there again. But that's a pity, because it's a note that you are going to play twice, and it's best that you stay on that note. It's prepared. You stay down, and then immediately the second F sharp will be softer. Dum, bum, bum. If you leave it, then it's very difficult to play that note soft. While if you leave that F sharp, then I can do it very soft. But okay, why not playing that low B? Try to play it with fingers, and then you have much more space to go under your arm. And I know, yeah, perhaps there are several other persons who play a lot with fingers, and perhaps they say, don't do it immediately with students who are beginning. Yeah, I don't know yet. Might be true, might not be true. Still, yeah, finding also my way with that. I mean, always thought that it is very good in the beginning to to already play with fingers. So we'll play from here. Bum bum see me. Bum 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 bum. Okay, from here. Oh, oh. No. No. Yeah.
From here?
Yes.
Right
From
here?
there. But
First
yes. Yes, I have to be down before you play. Yes. Go on. Yeah. G.
Starting from here, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And now the trick. Yes.
F
Yeah,
sharp.
F sharp. Yeah. Okay. Again, from the beginning, we're going to try to do everything as soft as possible. Okay. In fact, we can do the same thing over here. Although it's perhaps not necessary, but I would do with my hand, push down the key with fingers almost perpendicular. Why would I do that? Then I can also play this B with fingers, and then I have to go over with my right hand, and then there's more space because there's not a big hand in the way. Bum, bum, bim, bum. See? And in fact, you could also do that with that first A. Fingers, everything fingers. If John Gowans is listening now, perhaps he has another idea, but first of all, I can say that I like very much this handling, and this is just to see, okay, what can we do further with it? For sure, it's going to be something with the right hand, something with the left hand, but whether it is hand or fingers, yeah, then I will say try to experiment more. If you are able to play with fingers, then there is just less mass, less weight
That's
on your
right.
hand. While if you play with fingers, then I think it's more subtle.
Settle.
Okay, thank you. Bum, bum, bim, bum, 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 bum. Okay, from the beginning and over here, you will play everything with fingers. Continue. Fingers, yes. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep, and yeah, something in general, but very important to do, I think. Yeah, try from the beginning to make sure that you always feel relaxed. And then, by the way, also your body posture is very important. I still see a lot of persons playing with the bench too high, and then you always have tension on your shoulders, and we try to not to use muscles that you don't need to use to play. But okay, everyone is built a little bit differently. What I always try to do is the following idea. If you have your hand on the key, you don't push it down, and you imagine that you lengthen the key, that you arrive at your elbow. So perhaps for you, then I would say either you have to have the bench a little bit higher, or what did you do right now? Oh yes, of course. You have to play with a straight back. Doesn't mean that you have to force yourself, but yeah, it's something that I learned from, in fact, my flute teacher, the Adam, what was the name again of the method? Now it flips out of my mind. Alexander method for violinists, who will always have problems, of course, with posture. So if you want to have a straight back, don't push yourself forward, but if I may, you pull here some hairs. And what happens? Your head will go higher, your chin will go a little bit lower, and then you will have a very nice, relaxed position. You just have to imagine that you are Pinocchio. I have long hair, so somebody can pull my hair, and then you immediately, so I have to pull here, not in front, not in the middle, but here, so that has to be a little bit higher, and then you will have a very nice position of your back without that you having to use your back muscles. And then your arm arrived better. But if you are sitting like this, and exaggerate, you didn't do it that much. yeah, if you're sitting back, then yeah, you don't have that same thing. So posture is a very important element. Carillon is a very physical instrument. It's not hard to play, but we do a lot of physical things, and your upper body is part of your interpretation, I think. If you're playing and your upper body is always like straight, then yeah, I think you lose some elements that you can give even more. I think I'm getting some subtle signal to say that this is the end.
All right.
Thank you for playing Abigail. Thank you for playing Nova. Thank you for playing Adam. And enjoy the Carillon. Yeah.